Hey, good morning everybody. Welcome back to Homemade Homestead. We're so glad to be back. Sorry if you probably might see a little bit of sleep still in my eyes. I just barely woke up. It's Sunday today, and that's one of the days that I usually sleep in, but the sun came shining in the window. It just wouldn't let me sleep anymore. Sweet Rachel is getting her beauty sleep. She's been doing a lot, and the baby is getting its energy. She'll probably be up. She almost can always sense when I get up. It doesn't seem like she's far behind. But I tried to let her sleep this morning. There's been so much that's been going on in the garden lately. We have been trying to make some headway as far as the weeds go, but I'm not going to get too ahead of myself before I just take you right out there. A little bit of a breeze out here this morning. It's not horrible though. If it stays just as strong as it is, it might be just perfect to keep me cool as the sun continues to come up. Creation is already hard at it. The chickens have already been up for a while. I just saw that robin fly away. Had some food in its mouth. It's a beautiful time in the morning. We've reached the phase in our gardening where the name of the game is weeding and waiting. We don't get out here as much as we would like to in the garden. Just there's so many things that can take up our day, and before you know it, the weeds haven't stopped doing their job of crowding out the good garden space. But Rachel has been so sweet. She's just been working herself ragged. I think she's been working a little bit too hard, but she's such a sweetheart. And she wants to keep going with the garden. So I try to just make sure she doesn't overdo it the best that I can. She still gets out here because sometimes I'm at work and she's here at home, and bless her heart, she'll get out here when I can't stop her. Let me show you a little bit of what I'm talking about as far as our garden and the weeds. You may have seen it before. These are our onions. They look kind of sad right now, but my word, these onions are a very resilient crop, which we're very thankful for. Just to give you a frame of reference, this might not look like a whole lot, but this used to be like this. See all of these weeds growing up. Down in here, believe it or not, somewhere in here, somewhere in deep, buried in all of this, are onions. You see that? So this is what Rachel and the boys and me have been battling. It can look so daunting when you look at the whole thing, so we just try to keep our eyes focused on one section at a time. But you know what? That's what this used to be, and now we can see onions. Potatoes haven't been horribly bad as far as weeds go, certainly not as bad as the onions, but we've just been making rows of them, getting the weeds out from in between the potatoes, in between the rows, and we keep finding these bags of old leaves from last year in between the rows. They make for great mulch. A little bit of a walkway here. Here we have our garlic, which again, it's been that same just thick weed mat all in and throughout these things. We originally put this piece of welded wire over the top. That was to keep the cats from digging in it. I wish I had gotten it up sooner. It's kind of a pain to try to get up through these things without pulling up the garlic. Maybe once I get these weeds out of here, that welded wire can stay as long as it doesn't inhibit the growth of the garlic. But for right now, this morning, what I'm going to be working on is pruning some of our tomatoes. I just got myself a regular pair of scissors, and you can always dip these things in like rubbing alcohol, sterilize whatever bacteria might be on them a bit. But right now, I'm just pruning off some of these branches because these things have gotten actually quite bushy. Some of these things, my word, there's just so much I don't know even where to start. Some of these branches are so lovely looking, but they're low to the ground. Maybe I can train them up. That's what I'll do. Actually got little blossoms. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, these tomato plants might do something after all. Thank you, Father. There's just been such a water shortage this year where we are. They've turned our irrigation water off already. They've gone back and forth. They turned it off to try to let the pond fill up for a few days, see what kind of runoff they could get, but they've turned it back off again, and right now we're going on culinary water. Usually they don't turn the water off for, at least another 2-3 months, and they've already turned it off. There was just very, very little snowfall this last winter. It may have been like one rainstorm that we've gotten all season. We loved it just to death. It was so refreshing to get that rain. Unfortunately, it was still just not anywhere near what we needed to get back to normal. Despite all of that, we're hoping this ground cover will help hold some of the moisture in. It works really well for holding that stuff in. But, yeah, see just down that far, there's still moisture. But the air is plenty dry, and even that won't last forever. But we've also heard about other parts of the country where people are just flooding ridiculously enormous amounts of water that they can't handle. Really doesn't seem to be any kind of perfect spot for water to be right at the moment. But you know, the Father can always provide. Rachel always reminds me of the positive side of things. We've planted a pretty big garden in hopes that we can put up a lot for next year. We're going to be letting our land rest. And the Father can provide when we need it. Try to keep our eyes on that and trust that He'll take care of us. Good morning.
Good morning.
So what were you wanting to do?
You're ambitious. You got out here.
Oh, the sun wouldn't let me sleep. It was just shining right in on my face. I would have wanted to go back to sleep.
They're looking great, though. I'm excited to see what the tomatoes do. They're really pretty this year.
Yeah, I was telling them that we've got a big water shortage. But these things they're putting on blossoms all over the place.
Yeah. This is amazing that you're doing this because it's so hard for me to bend with my belly with the baby, and so thank you for pruning these because I've been walking by and I'm like, oh, they need help.
Rachel's being awesome since she can't get down here and squat with a lot of this stuff. Of course, she's not going to go inside and just relax. She went in to put on some breakfast for me and the kiddos. And I want to start unloading the dishwasher, she said. I really feel bad about clipping things like these. That's about as thick as the stalk itself. She was telling me that these, she was calling them suckers, and it may be pretty, but you see how low these branches hang right to the ground. These are usually the first ones that'll get eaten by the bugs. Obviously, they're the easiest access. That can introduce bacteria and disease to the plant, and it actually ends up hurting the plant more than helping. So, hate to do it, but there that goes. I don't feel as bad about this one because I don't see any buds or anything like that growing on it. It's still fairly low to the ground, so I'm gonna go ahead and clip that as well. The problem is, I don't know how much pruning is too much. I don't know if they're exactly like fruit trees. And they say you're supposed to prune 1/3 of your tree branches out each season. And I don't know if the tomatoes are anything like that. I know you want to get out of the plant things like this. You see there's the main branch right here, or main stalk right here. A big branch right there. And in between, there's that little sucker right here that's growing up. You want to prune stuff like that off. where the branches are obviously just crowding each other out. Pick the one that looks the healthiest. If there happens to be a branch that doesn't have any blossoms on it, then I don't feel too badly about pruning that one off. And eventually, hopefully, what you end up with is a little bit more air allowed to pass through, a little more sunlight to get on the branches that are left. What?
If you get hungry, there's peas. They're all over.
And some of these don't look, they still look a little bit yellow, some of them.
Yeah, they're actually going to start dying back because it's gotten so hot. It's around 100 and they don't like the heat.
Eesh.
But
yeah, there's a lot of them.
Yep.
Awesome.
The kids love to come out and pick them, so it's kind of fun because if I were to put peas on their breakfast plate, they would be like, what in the world are these? But they'll come, and while I'm out here in the morning, they'll just snack on them. That's lovely.
I don't even like peas. As a kid, it was one of those vegetables that my mom always tried to get us to eat because it was healthy. And I was like, do I have to? Yes. Yeah. No. They're good for me. I still wouldn't say I like them. Oh boy. That's a nostalgic flavor. We've come to have more of an appreciation for things that we have been able to glean from our own garden. But something about it, just being able to pick it out of the garden and eat it, I don't know, it's exciting to me. Alright, I gotta focus. That sun's still coming up. Good morning.
Good morning, but is it Shabbat?
Is it Shabbat?
Yeah.
No,
What day is it then?
it's Sunday.
Oh,
How are you?
good.
Did you have a good sleep?
Yeah.
We're gonna tie the tomato plants up the rest of the way, just a little bit more, with some of that grow tape. This stuff, it's not sticky, and it's pretty stretchy. It's almost like a taffy consistency. Other plants, before we got that tape, we tied up with just string because that's what we had at the time. I'm not sure I really am loving it too much right now though, because these strings are just so thin. As the plant gets bigger, unfortunately the string has just kind of cut into the stalk of some of these things, which I'm not too fond of. Well, what happens is these plants, they try to grow up really big and strong, and they put out a whole bunch of leaves. If you don't prune them, what happens is the plant will start devoting all of its strength to just growing and sustaining all of these leaves instead of fruit. And we want the fruit, right?
Yeah.
That tomato smell on the fingers doesn't look so pretty. It's kind of grimy and really gets coated on your fingers, but it smells amazing.
Please, Dad.
What's that?
Grab the scissors.
Okay. All right. Careful with them. Careful. All right. Hang on. All right. So can you clip this one right down there? I want to get it right around that branch. All right. Go ahead and clip it. Squeeze hard. Squeeze hard. Good job. But this is kind of the tedious work. In those early morning hours, though, it is just beautiful to be out here in creation. Get a little tiny glimpse of what Adam and Eve may have felt like in the garden, walking in the cool of the morning, as Scripture says. What are you doing?
Watering by hand. Because I think we'll get water hopefully on Tuesday. Today's Sunday. So they can't go that long without any water.
It is what it is. You got to keep the garden alive, right?
I think so. We're letting our grass kind of die.
Never got around to ordering meat birds, which turns out that may have been a good thing because there's not much grass to be had.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no water to. We would all have to be city water. That might get
Expensive.
too. Pray for rain. You think since you brought it out, you should get some? You want some? How is it? Now I guess it's just the fun part that's left of watering and sprinkling the kids every time they need to cool down, right?
I go through with the hoe, as you can see, even though I come every day, every other day, there's little weeds that still pop up almost every single day.
Yeah.
So if I stay on top of it with the hoe, then it never gets out of hand. It just takes me about an hour to go through the whole main garden, and it keeps the weeds down.
That about does it for the vlog, I think. Thanks for coming along with us. It sure has been a long time. Too long, always. We're gonna call it for that. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We always love having you guys. And feel free to share our channel with your friends. Leave a comment down in the comment section below. No guarantee we're gonna get back to you right away, but we'll try. We hope to see you again on the next video real soon. Take it easy.